Talk Show. This is episode 185, and we have a fantastic show for you this week. I'm going to pop on and say a quick hello, and then I'm going to bring on my co-host this week. Hey guys, how you doing? We have a fantastic show for you this week. We've got a lot of great topics to discuss with you. We're going to be talking some, we've got some YouTube updates. We have quite a few Facebook updates, as well as some new Twitter updates as well, specifically a Twitter subtitling tool. But I'm excited to talk about this. I'm going to go and bring on my co-host this week, Jessica Phillips. Jessica, how are you doing this week?
Hey, I'm doing good. I can't believe it's already Thursday, but yeah.
I know.
This week is rolling.
Yes, it is. Hopefully you're having a good week, by the way.
I am. Yeah. It's always a good week when I can be here, you know?
Yes, and thank you so much again for stepping in for Phil this week. I really appreciate it. Again, for those of you who don't know Jessica, she runs Now Marketing Group. She's an agency in Lima, Ohio. She also has a conference. I should know this, right? By now. She has a conference coming up. It's Social Media Week Lima. What's that? Hashtag SMWL19, I think, right?
Really good, yeah.
So she's got a conference coming up. While I'm getting a couple of things behind the scenes, do you want to tell everybody about this conference? I've been in this conference. I've spoken at it. It's a great conference. But we've got a conference coming up, right?
Absolutely, yes. We have a conference coming to Lima, Ohio. It is our 7th annual event, and this year's theme is craveable. So how can you create an irresistible brand? I'm super pumped for this year's event, as I am every year, but it just keeps getting better and better because more amazing people keep coming and joining us, and it keeps growing. But this year we have 26 internationally known, amazing speakers that are thought leaders in the space and just really know their stuff, all to present on the theme craveable. Everything from how to, use your words to inspire action, to how do you do this live video thing to get people coming back to it. It's a 2-day event, June 18th and 19th. We still have those special offers going on. You can find out details at sociallima.com.
Sociallima.com. So, again, fantastic conference. I've had a chance to speak there. I can't say any. I have lots of positive things about it. Lots of great people. Again, Jessica's. She and her company are putting this on, so it's a great conference to check out. Definitely worth putting on your schedule. So. We've got a lot of topics we want to talk about this week, by the way. We were going to have Jason Burns on. We had a couple scheduling issues come up. So he's not going to be on tonight. But it's going to be Jessica and myself. And I can tell you right now, you're going to get a lot of really good information. So for those of you watching us on Facebook Live, we're there. So please do us a favor, drop in, tag some friends, ask your questions. And then also, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, let us know there as well. If you have questions about anything, we'll do our best to answer those. So where do you want to start, Jessica? We've got lots of topics to talk about this week. I know we try to pare down our list, but where do you think we should start?
Well, I think since you're streaming this on YouTube, we should give the YouTube a shout out with one of the tools that isn't necessarily super new. It's about a year old, but more and more people are getting the notifications now. And I'm talking about the YouTube copyright match tool, which you've had some personal experience with recently, and I'm sure others will start having this experience. But essentially what it is, and many of us probably before have received notification that we've had a copyright infringement on some music, maybe to the background, especially when we get into those free music libraries that they allow us to upload with our videos. You may have, received a notification, or even if you purchased it, sometimes they're like, hey, what's the record that shows that you've purchased this music? We've had to go through that copyright claim. Well, this is essentially very similar, but it goes a level deeper and matches the video. So it lets you know that, hey, we found a video similar to yours, if not completely identical. And here's how much so of identical that it is. What would you like to do about it? So we're really finding, who's kind of taking that intellectual property and putting it on their channel. And now you have something that you can do about it.
Yeah, this is a really fantastic. I'm glad they're actually coming out with this tool finally. I don't know if it, like we said earlier, I'm not sure if it's new only because I just got the notification this week.
I think it's new as soon as somebody gets it, they realize that it's there, right? But I think YouTube had more notifications about it April of 18, rolled out, of course, to creators first, and then now it's more generalized to everyone.
I will say, here's the thing. Basically, this is the tool. So if you go to your YouTube channel, you click on your photo in the top right, you go to the YouTube Creator Studio there, and then on the left, if you click on copyright, what's basically going to come up are videos that YouTube has basically matched to someone else on YouTube. Now, as you can see here, I actually have an example here of somebody who apparently, basically downloaded my video, put it up on their channel, and have had it up for a couple years. Now, here's the thing. I didn't know about this. And the reason I didn't know about this is because I'm not out there on YouTube trying to search the, what is it? How many billions, more than billions of pieces of content on their channel. But you basically can go in here, see who has matched some of your videos. And then once you see how many views they have and how much they've matched. And also you can go in and play the whole video as well. In this case, it actually is me doing a screencast of my channel. So at that point, I'm like, well, hey, obviously they have matched something here. And what you can do then at this point is report it. You can request to have it removed. And this will give you some options. You can choose to say, hey, do you want this removed immediately? Is this something that they can have, 7 days to fix? But basically, it can help you clean up your channel. What do you think about this? I think this is in relation to the incident that happened down in New Zealand. I think it was maybe a week or so ago, for, people reposting a video. But what do you think? Good move by YouTube to do this?
Yeah, that's definitely a good use case for it with what happened, last week or so, but also for brands and for creators that are spending their time and effort to create these nicely well done videos that sometimes can go viral, get lots of views, and then people are, taking that video and trying to repurpose it on their channel or taking clips of it to try to disguise it and hide it into something new. That's just not cool. You've spent a lot of time, effort, and energy, creating something, and you should know if somebody's stealing your property. We have the same tools that we could use on Google for content. This is, written content. This is just and even photo, image content. So this is just another tool to help us to figure out who's trying to steal our content as a brand. So I think this is a very smart move by YouTube. One, of course, for the incidences like that you mentioned, and others that we've heard about, that have went live that are just things that should not be up public anyway. But then also for business use cases of just people trying to, ride on the coattails of some other creator.
Absolutely. So what do you think, by the way? So I have a question for you. So one of the big questions that's come up in terms of people being able to re-upload videos. For example, this incident we talked about, a video basically surfaced. It showed up on Facebook. It showed up on Twitter. Obviously, they did their best to try to take it down. People were re-uploading parts of it. Whose responsibility do you think it is? Do you think it's the channel's responsibility? Do you think it's the creator's responsibility? Is it someone else's responsibility?
I think it's everybody's responsibility. Honestly, we were talking about this before the show, and I do think, in that instance, of course, it's kind of, YouTube, of course, needs to take action if it's something that violates maybe something that shouldn't be out there. However, we were talking before the show and speaking to businesses, some businesses just don't know better, right? I work with a ton of clients, and it's literally just a naiveness of understanding that they want to have a video, right, that explains something. Maybe it's a process that, they want to highlight and explain in more detail how it works or what it's about, answering a question. They're a little shy to be on video, or they want to get something right away. And they're like, oh, I already found this video that answers that question perfectly. Let's just use that one. Can't we just download it and repurpose it because I like it? No, so it's literally like us trying to explain that to them. So I think some brands just don't understand that you can't use that yet. It's just kind of like, people taking photos off Google and thinking that's okay to just steal it and use it. And you can't do that. So I think part of it definitely is in their hands as far as the responsibility. Just because you don't know better doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it and getting in trouble. but it gives us a chance at least now to know about us. I mean, the creators to know about it, to remove it, and then YouTube to do the explaining as to why they have to remove that content.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. And, you know, like you said, you know, a lot of people, they will go on and they will, you know, they'll use an image from Google, they'll use a video, for example. I mean, it's a very simple process. If it's not your content, you technically can't really use it to certain degrees, you know, and if you're not sure you can use it, it's as simple as firing off an email, going to a website, looking at their contact form, looking at their social media channels, and just reaching out and saying, hey, I'd like to use such and such piece of content in some work that I'm doing. Can I do it? You know, and a lot of times, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, sorry. I was going to say, we've even had it where it's like a super hip, like cool song that they're like, oh, let's just slap that on the video. You know, so it literally is all of the above. If somebody spent time creating something, chances are you can't use it for free.
Nope.
Yeah.
Everything has, you know, essentially you have to license it. And some people, you know, if they're a small company, for example, they're, you know, they may be open to just license it for free because they want the exposure. But others, you know, if it's for instance, if it's an important, you know, a really popular song, for example, you can't just use it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So if anybody has questions on this YouTube copyright match tool, as they're calling it, you know, drop those in the comments. We'll do our best to respond to those. But basically, you know, you can find it, like I said, under your YouTube creator, which is under your logo, and then click on the copyright section, and you'll see if you have any infringing videos. And I'd urge you, as we're moving on to the next topic here, you know, take a couple of, you know, just 30 seconds, check out the link that we dropped in the comments and see if you have any videos that have been matched by YouTube.
Yeah.
So where do you want to go next, Jessica? So that's YouTube news for the week.
Yeah, let's talk about the ever-changing, ever-popular Facebook, as always, making changes. And this time it's Facebook Stories. So not so much a lot of changes with the stories itself, some for brands. However, it's just how they're pushing more brands to use stories by offering what all brands want: insights, wanting to know, how is this working to improve my bottom line? I just came back from Social Media Marketing World in San Diego a couple weeks ago. There was huge discussion on Facebook Stories and just stories growing at a rapid rate. Why? Because it creates this fear of missing out if you don't catch it within this time period. But brands have been slower to adapt than more of the individuals because of this insights piece. So Facebook is going to be rolling out insights. If you don't have it already, they'll be rolling it out to a story near you.
Yeah, definitely. And so, you know, I don't have a whole lot of insights on this, which is interesting because we did post some stories. But basically, you can find these on your Facebook page by going to, and again, you have to do this from desktop, by the way. I did try it on mobile. I didn't have the stories option under Insights, under Facebook Page Manager, the Facebook Page Manager app. But if you go on desktop, go to your Facebook page, click on Insights, you should see a stories option here on the left, as you can see here. And they'll show your insights. Do y'all have this at Now Marketing Group at all?
Yeah, we do. So some of the brands are slower to start using it. Not all the brand pages had it. Actually, the brand pages that were using the Facebook Business Manager got it. Some of them got it after the ones that got it before. I don't know if there was any coincidence with that. That was just something I noticed. But majority of the pages have it right now.
Definitely. Very nice. And so that's one update. Now, in addition to this, you know, if you go under your publishing tools as well, you should also see a stories option there too. Some businesses have this. We didn't have this. Do you have it, Jessica? I'm not sure, but
what's that one? Tools, I'm sorry.
There's an archive option under stories for stories as well under your publishing tools.
Ooh, how did I not see that? Oh, I read about it, but I don't see that on my page right now.
Yeah,
I did see something on mobile. But I don't. Where would you see it on desktop?
So a desktop, very simple. Just go under the more option on your Facebook page, click on publishing tools, and then you should see stories listed off to the left there.
Yeah, I see stories, but I want to see the archive part. Oh, yeah.
If you on your end go under publishing tools, we didn't have it. So
I do see it.
That will allow you to create an archive. I think you can actually share your screen, by the way, as well. We're using StreamYard here. But yeah, it will give you the option to also archive your stories, which I think is
Very
good news
cool.
as well.
I don't have any stories right now on this one, but yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I think that is super important. I mean, I know we're going to be talking more about the Facebook stories archiving in general, because I think that's another big update by Facebook and really what they're wanting to push in order to give all of us, more insight and access to stories. They see this growing at a rapid rate. I think it was like 15% or something a month growth in the stories, where the newsfeed is just not growing.
Right.
So this makes more sense for them to double down on the features within stories. And I think, especially when it comes to companies like working with influencers or having a big event, they're almost hesitant. Of course, they want to use the story, but they're almost hesitant because they know it's going to go away in a day. So what do you do with that, right? You want to keep that content and that copy so you can reference back and reshare it, which is another thing that they're rolling out, where you can actually reshare and repurpose the content, which I think is a game changer. So not just archiving it. And I love that. We've seen that on Instagram for a while, where you can create like your highlights, right? And that's where I save all the content that like I want to keep. Like, it makes more sense to do a story in the moment. I want to keep the video and completely tell the story, but I also want to keep it. And that's something that Facebook is now allowing you to do within their tool. So I think that super smart of them. I think brands will maybe be more amped to use it, especially when they don't want to go, so heavy-handed on the posting back to back, but it's more natural to do that within a story and be able to archive it and then reuse it later.
Definitely. And so, from a business perspective, like, let's talk about stories real quick. What do you suggest that a business do for creating stories, or at least understanding like how to kind of get in that mindset for stories? Because again, like as you mentioned, a lot of people, they kind of, they might have a really boring life and think, hey, I don't have anything to post on stories.
That's me. Yeah. That's kind of boring some days.
So, well, what do you suggest? I mean, because
it just depends. I mean, any brand and every brand has a story in something you're doing. So whether it's just checking in and giving like a quick tip, whether it's talking about, something that you're doing within the company, focusing on introducing team members maybe of the day and kind of what their roles are, answering questions like, hey, we just got this email in with this fantastic question. Here's the answer to that. Like, think about it from your brand's perspective of how can you show up to give more of a behind the scenes look at your day to day. It doesn't have to be just this, fireworks event. It literally is just you telling a story about something that's going on in your office, whether that's a made up, you're making and creating this story. So you're thinking about it ahead of time and saying, hey, we want to do maybe a community spotlight and walk through the story of, hey, introducing the concept to then carrying it throughout and then tying it back to your brand. Or if you're saying, I just want to provide access for a level of understanding, getting to know us a little bit more. So you are the storyteller as a brand. So you do have control over the stories that you tell. The good thing is now you do have the insights that we talked about. So you can see whether or not your messages are resonating, one. And two, you can get more people involved with it and you have a better chance of getting seen by people, checking into the stories versus your content you spend so much time working on it not getting shown in the newsfeed and kind of, leveling off. So
yeah, definitely. And I think also with stories, I mean, for example, let's use this show as an example. So if you wanted to, have something to put up in stories, it could just be something as simple as, hey guys, we're going live today at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, for instance, you could have a short URL that you put on your image that shows up. So, definitely, you don't have to make it complicated. I think that's the key.
You could, like for your brand, it'd be like every time you hear about a new tip or a new rollout, it's like quickly introducing it and then, maybe saying something more about it and say, hey, we'll be discussing, use cases for this or whatever on the show this week. So it could literally be a daily kind of, here's what I'm discovering, right? Because it aligns with your brand, it lets people know about the show and it's pulling them into you. They can see you, they can hear you, they can, get a sense of who you are and why they'd want to join. And then even taking some clips of, maybe one of the snippets from the show and playing it back and then saying, hey, if you missed it or you want to hear the full discussion, then, introducing, because you can put links in there, which is awesome.
Yes.
And you don't have to have 10,000 fans or whatever.
No.
So you can put links to, for them to watch more and get into it. Like I just use stories. This was on Instagram, but of course they have the crossover between Facebook and Instagram, but it was, just saying, hey, I got my talk back from Social Media Marketing World. I just listened to the audio, talked a little bit about what I talked about. And then I played a video of like some of the testimonials and then showed the workbook that I used and then asked anybody if they wanted a copy of the workbook if they weren't there. And I had, 20 something messages in of people asking or requesting for the workbook. It all came from just a quick little check-in, in a story. So I really see this as something super successful that brands can definitely, grab a hold of.
Definitely. And, I just want to mention, if everybody's watching, Lisa, Ross Brand, Gail Gilliland, Chris Rainey, for example, if you guys have questions, if you have stories, ideas, for example, feel free to drop those in the comments. I know dentist, I think I got that right.
Want to highlight and explain.
And so she might, if she might want to, if she has ways she uses stories, because I think she uses stories a lot. So might be very useful as well if they have tips they want to share.
Yeah.
So
for sure. Yeah. Like in what you've seen other brands do that you follow, that you're like, oh my gosh, I never want to miss one of their stories because it's interesting, right? I think any of those ideas are good because one, I want to share them with my clients too.
Definitely. No, definitely. And I think, here's the thing. I think that it's going to be one of those things that stories are going to take a little bit of time for some people to kind of really kind of understand how they work. Because,
they've had time. It's been out for a while. Like, I think that's sweet of you to say that, but it's like, come on now. Like, no.
Absolutely right. People need to start using stories because as things are migrating away from newsfeed, but there's a lot of people, they still want that newsfeed. They don't really either get the stories, understand what the purpose of them are, and then, they kind of still need to kind of make their way there. They're not there yet. So
I can appreciate that. I still am a fangirl of the newsfeed. I'm old like that, I think. But I do check out more of the stories. Like that's all I really look at on Instagram. I just have not made that transition 100% yet on Facebook, but I found myself doing it more now. So I think you are right. Like when it comes to Facebook, like being conditioned to first engage with it. And then they'll get ideas as brands to really feel more comfortable, I think, doing it there. I don't know why it just seems more natural, at least for me and for some of the clients I've worked with, to do it on Instagram. And so we have done the crossover, but I don't want to do that all the time because just the mentions and some of the stuff that you want to put in your stories there, it doesn't cross over. So it just looks sloppy. It kind of reminds me of, the Facebook to Twitter integration that we're going to look back on in a year or so and just be like, why? Like, why? Just stop it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great example. Actually, you can go to facebook.com/Twitter and you can connect your Facebook account to Twitter, and then, at one point then it was like, well, you can use certain hashtags to have certain tweets go here and, updates go there. And, again, like you were just driving people. Yeah. And I actually I honestly like the fact that you're bringing up that it looks sloppy. And that's the thing with social media. Like, it's partly about being, quick and nimble and putting out a good update, but you also have to plan out what you're going to be talking about, what you plan to post. It's not always just like an off the cuff thing, unless you're at an event or, and you're busy and you got stuff going on. I mean, when you have stuff going on, of course, people expect that. But most of the time, it just needs to be, professional. It needs to be together, tight. Don't necessarily, look at other big brands, for example. We always give the Starbucks example. A coffee shop, wants to be the next, Starbucks, and they want to use Starbucks as the model. And it's like, well, Starbucks has been around for a long time. You have to kind of, in a way, forge your own path. What makes you different from, Starbucks, for example? Maybe you get some ideas from them, but again, you have to come up with something that's unique that you can, actually maintain. So.
Yeah. And to be the devil's advocate here too, I think it doesn't need to be too scripted, but the name gives it away. I don't remember who I heard say this, but it's called Stories for a reason. Like just give some context around it, but it doesn't have to be like so perfect and polished that it just feels not genuine, right? But I do love the consistency, like what you said, like finding your niche. Like I know if I, go to certain people's and watch certain people's stories, what I'm going to expect every day. Like I love I was Sean, he's the YouTuber, Carnell, is that how you say his last name?
Yep.
Rise and Grind. Like he starts out all of his Instagram stories like that. And I almost like wait for that, right? Like I love watching his Instagram stories for that. And like, I can always know kind of what to expect from going through that. So finding your voice and finding your flow with it, I think is important. But also as you're getting started, don't get so caught up with trying to make it perfect that you don't get started. Just remember, like whatever you're going through, you may take a few different angles at your story to tell the story and see what kind of story resonates with your audience and then go from there.
Definitely. And that's where having the insights is going to be super important. I think, people are going to be able to go in, they're going to be able to see their insights. They're going to be able to see what is actually like resonating with the audience. How much time are they viewing these stories? For example, is it, and this is the silly thing is that you can't really, your stories are only a certain amount of length. You can't really shorten them that much, but keep that in mind, when you are publishing your stories.
Yeah. So. And I love, too, like what we were talking about the news feed, that Facebook now is really helping us train our own newsfeed. Like they just rolled out this transparency tool, which I think
yes, let's talk about that actually. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's do it. So I love this. Okay. So I may be at an event or, have something on the brain and I'm really connecting with people and a certain set of people, but then I start seeing only that content. I'm like, hey, where'd the rest of my friends' content go? Right. Or, sometimes some random stuff pops up on my feed because I'm managing client accounts. And so my Facebook is super confused on what I'm trying to really view on my page. So I love that they rolled out this transparency tool, one to really talk and tell you why this content that is in your newsfeed, if you're just like, where did this come from? It tells you where it came from. Like, hey, you're seeing this more often because you're friends with so-and-so and you're engaging with this and you're part of this group. And as well as doing that, not just for the post, but also for the ads, which I think is super important, especially with all that Facebook's went through with data and privacy and everything that, I think they lost a little bit of trust with their viewers and their participants in Facebook. So I think this is really helping them be more transparent, no pun intended.
Definitely. No, I think this is a really big update. By the way, George here is saying he's a big believer in treating his newsfeed, and I 100% agree with that.
Amen to that.
You definitely, training your newsfeed, very important, because again, I mean, previously, like started out and everybody wanted to figure out, well, what's this algorithm? Facebook has to give some stuff away, and I think that it's really important that they're starting to show people more about why they are seeing these updates. I'm actually pull up a couple of these. Actually, I'll pull this one up. Hopefully everybody can see this.
I love how they started off too. It said the newsfeed is always personalized to you, and getting started today, you'll have even more information and control over that experience. And so they're introducing, it's called Why Am I Seeing This Post, to help you better understand and more easily control what you see from friends, pages, groups in the newsfeed. This is the first time that they've built this information on how ranking works directly in the app. So there's no question, as to why and how it's ranking this way. Of course, they did the one for the ads in 2014, but this is going to get kind of a little bit of an overhaul. So you really have the full control, and you're pulling up the example I see. So, yeah.
So I have the example pulled up here. So the bottom line is, like, if you want to access this new transparency tool, simply go to a post. You click on the ... option, and you're going to get the option here about why am I seeing this post. And in this example here, in this case, you're friends with this person, you're a member of similar groups, they've engaged with certain posts more than others, they've commented on posts. So, this particular post is popular. There are some elements where, like, in this case, this post is popular. They're using it based off of what you're actually doing. And then they're showing some additional other factors as well. Which I think is, I also like this idea, like the ability to manage what you see in your feed. For example, you can follow the person. So it's not oh, hey, now I have to go dig in another settings menu. I can do it all right from this post. That's what I really like about this.
Yeah. So it's why you're seeing it, what information, has the largest influence, and which, so they're telling you. And so they're saying the things that have the largest influence on what's going to show up in your feed or not is how often you interact with posts from a person, the pages or groups that you're both like associated with, or you are associated with and most often engaging with, how often you interact with a specific type of post as well.
Right.
So if you are interacting with more video content than links, then they're going to show more video content in your newsfeed. They have a video at the end of this link, and I'm sure you're going to share in the notes here and on the video, but they have a great video that I highly recommend watching when we're done here, of course. But they did a lot of interviewing on how people are reacting. They tested this in several other countries before bringing this to the US. And I love that they said that our primary goal is knowing when you get to your Facebook newsfeed that we're going to serve up the content that you're most likely to want to spend some time with, which I have personally seen this more often. Now, granted, I've trained my newsfeed, so I have maxed out number of see first set up.
By the way, what is that number? Is there a certain number?
I don't know, but I've maxed it because I have to remove someone. I want to say it's I don't even want to guess. It's 15. I want to say, but I don't know. Okay. But I've. Well,
that's good. This is good. This is a science experiment if you think about it. Because
I'm gonna find out, George, you're the good go-to of Google and all things. So how many see first people can you have? Let's see if you can find out that answer for us. But yeah, I've maxed it out. So I want to get the good content that I want to see and get out, and this has made it easier. So I think good job.
Definitely. So in addition to this, you also mentioned, you alluded to this earlier, Facebook also has this for Facebook ads as well. So you can go in and see why you're seeing certain ads. For example, if people are including you in a customer list, very useful as well.
That one's huge. Even if you want to say that one again, that's big.
that's gonna get. Here's the thing. It depends on who you are. There's a lot of social media marketers that abuse that system. They will take your,
but they're going to be outed.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
They're going to take, basically, here's the thing. If somebody gets, if somebody gets on your email list, you're not supposed to just add them to this list. They have to opt in. Now, if you get that list, you can export it and you can upload it to Facebook as a custom audience. Fantastic. But there are going to be people that are going to say, hey, I got your business card, and I'm going to automatically add you because they assume that means, hey, now I can add you because you've given me the sacred business card. You cannot do that. And, when you do that, Facebook is going to, you can see that in your ads if you're seeing certain businesses show up in your feed. So,
I love that it tells you not just the brand that's using it, but the original source. It'll tell you who's uploaded the list specifically. So let's say, it's done through a business manager or whatever. My understanding of how it's going to work is that if I upload this list, but I'm using it on a different brand page, that it's going to say where it came from. So I think that's really important, especially as going back to social media marketing world, we were actually several speakers were targeted for a few different specific individuals that weren't even going to the actual conference, but they were trying to target us. Yeah. And we're like, how in the world did they get our name and our contact information? So I think lists like that and finding out would be super helpful because it's man.
So I wonder if you were also targeted because there are a couple of people there that we know that do that kind of targeting. I wonder if they were actually doing it as well because, not a good approach to take. But
my newsfeed got a little hairy with the ads around that time.
Yeah, yes. You're like, I'm not going to buy your course. I sell the same course, for example. So yes, but big update. By the way, do you want to watch this video or what do you want to do?
I think we could just share it. Maybe too. It's a little long. I think it's 3 minutes and something.
Yeah,
it's so long. It says the attention span of the person.
That's the crazy thing these days with the length of just our attention span. It's gotten to the point where now it's how many 3-second video views did something get? It's oh, how many milliseconds? Like, and there are creative ways to use, content in a couple of seconds here.
It is a good video. I'll give it to them. Like, it kept my attention once. I just don't know that it could do it again.
Yeah, definitely.
After I've watched it.
So that's some YouTube news. That's some Facebook news. We've got another topic on Twitter real quick here, and then a couple of tools. And we have some other topics we didn't get to, but we're going to put those in the blog post recap, by the way. You can get that by going to socialchefs.com/daily. That's going to get you on our email list. We don't spam you. You'll get a daily email with the latest topics and articles and whatnot that we found that are relevant for you. But by the way, I love having you on the show, just because you bring so much useful information. So thanks again for filling in this week.
Yay, thank you.
So, we don't talk a lot about Twitter. We don't talk a lot. Do what?
I said I love the Twitters.
Yes. We don't talk a lot about Twitter because a lot of people associate Twitter with spam in a way. Because they don't say, hey, they don't get a lot of value out of Twitter a lot of times.
Not my people.
And that's the thing. You have to be. What's the secret? The secret is what? You got to be active. You got to go on. You got to
focus.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So this update this week, and I think this is a really good update from Twitter. I'm actually really surprised that Twitter has not rolled this out until now. Yeah. So basically, it's pretty simple. Twitter subtitles. You can now upload a .srt file to your videos on Twitter, and they will add subtitles. So this way people can watch, and in this case they can watch without actually having the sound on, as some people have to use sometimes. What do you think about this, by the way? Are you excited about the fact is this more work now, or what do you think?
I'm kind of like on the fence. So I do understand why subtitles, and I do think that it could be beneficial. However, I don't know that I use Twitter that way. So I'm using it for one-to-one communication a lot of times, or, talking back and forth with someone. So when I watch videos, I just watch it. It's a little bit different than Facebook, right? So I'm not necessarily one that scrolls through the Twitter news feed. I barely ever go there. I have lists and stuff like that. So it's much more intentional use of Twitter. However, that being said, I know there are several that, scroll through the newsfeed and potentially are watching it because, the autoplay or whatever on it. So where subtitles, of course, are beneficial in all cases when it comes to video. So I definitely can see why they have it now. There was a little bit of confusion, however, I think, for the accessibility. So I just hope that it doesn't hurt that group of people that are using Twitter that need the accessibility features, because the closed captioning. So it's going to be more manual work on their part to turn off one or the other in order to get if they already have it to set for closed captioning. And then now Twitter has, the subtitles on there. So, which is a lot different than closed captioning. So I don't know how that's going to work. So I hope it doesn't turn anyone off that really needs that feature or wants that feature. But definitely I can see where closed captioning is beneficial. I mean, I definitely use it and like it on Facebook and on LinkedIn because I'm watching videos, with the sound off a lot of times. But I just use Twitter different.
And it's really interesting. So watching videos with subtitles on, I don't see a problem with it. I think that I've actually found it fairly enjoyable. I don't feel like, I realize here's the thing. Audio is one of the most important parts in, say, a movie or a video. But, it doesn't bother me, to have no sound on and to be watching the subtitles. In a way, it also makes you kind of think, well, hey, what kind of sound is actually, being used in this video or this movie or whatnot that I'm watching.
I love when they have the subtitles that say it, or I know that's more closed captioning, but crowd applause or insert metal hairband music here or whatever.
Yes. And by the way, Gail says, let me find her comment here. Twitter is her favorite place to hang out. So Gail, what do you think about this subtitling feature, by the way? Do you think it's going to be useful? Overall, by the way, I think this is, kind of look at it like this. It's a process. It's like blogging, for instance. Blogging, you want to do your keyword research. You want to have specific topics. If you want to target the content for SEO, again, there's steps you need to go through. And if you're already, for instance, creating a subtitle file for YouTube or Facebook, you might as well just upload it to Twitter as well.
And YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a tip, by the way, a YouTube tip here. So, for those of you who want to rank your videos better on YouTube, don't just use the auto subtitling feature that they give you. So if you use that, like what it does is it will show you, it'll automatically like try to figure out what the subtitles should be, which is, hey, that's a good thing. And then you can go and edit them. But if you actually create your separate subtitle file and upload it separately, it actually will give you the search benefits. If you don't, it doesn't give you the search benefits. So if you're using the auto-generated feature.
That's a great tip. What do you use like for your subtitling? And and also just to mention, this is SRT file, right? That you're telling everyone about.
Yes.
So that's what you to look for when you're creating this, if you've not done that before. But yeah, what do you use? What tool? So
a couple ways you can use for subtitling. I use Final Cut Pro, but you can also, if you want something else, it's a freeware tool. It's called Aegis Sub, AEGIS-SUB.
Hold on. Say that one more time.
I'll drop it in the comments, actually.
Okay, I would like to write that one down.
AEGIS is what it's called.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's a open source tool. So there's a free tool there. That one, here's the thing, subtitling, it's a little bit complicated. It's very tedious, let's just say that, to subtitle. But you can add your subtitles quickly to your videos. This will spit out your files, and then you can create multiple styles, for instance, depending on the content you're subtitling for, the language, and then you can drop it into Facebook or YouTube and whatnot. But personally, Final Cut Pro is my like default way, just because you're already in there, and it'll spit the same SRT file out. So, nice. But two options, yeah, super easy. And that's the last one I mentioned is available for Windows and Mac as well. So feel free to give that a try.
Windows.
Yes, I know, right? I know. I'm like, I had to think when you asked me. I was like, hold on, is she using Windows or is she using Mac?
What? Shame, yes. Christian. I thought you knew me better than that.
No, I do. But I heard you. I heard you typing.
What kind of friends are we? I'm just kidding.
No, I know you're an Apple fangirl, right?
Yeah.
So that's the subtitling feature, by the way, from Twitter. Now, in order to add this, you do have to go to the Twitter Media Studio, which I dropped the link in the comments for that. You basically go there, upload your video, and there's a subtitle option where you can add the file. Just walk through the on-screen prompts. Pretty straightforward. So now we're up to actually one of my favorite parts of the show. By the way, we do have a couple other topics. We've got topics from WhatsApp. We've got a couple of Instagram features. Things that, here's the thing with the show. We try to bring on the best topics. For instance, like we had a topic about Instagram having the ability to fast forward through videos finally. Not necessarily a business function, but hey, it's good that I can at least fast forward and scrub through videos. That didn't necessarily make the show, but it does make the blog post recap. So definitely, definitely check it out.
Definitely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where people can check it out. Where can someone subscribe? Can they just comment in here and put them into the blog?
No, actually, we have just go to socialstuff.com/daily. Here, I'll bring the banner up actually for that.
I love it because that's where I have it like on auto tweet so I can catch it, because it's where I just like tell my team, just go read this article. That's everything you need to know what's happening.
By the way, thanks a lot to Lisa Monks as well. She's talking about a tool. She uses Subtitle automatically that captions the videos effortlessly. So that's another tool.
Thank you. Yeah, if anybody else has other tools, definitely drop it in there. I think it's good.
So thanks a lot for adding that, Lisa. I'm going to actually drop the link as well to Subtitle. So I think we talked about that actually on the show with her. Lots. And here's the thing: there's lots of tools for subtitling. I would say this: subtitling is, you need to kind of find the right tool for your workflow. There's a lot of different tools out there for subtitling. Honestly, you don't have to pay for a subtitling tool. I think Subtitle might be a paid tool, but there are free ones out there. There are paid ones. They both work pretty much equally as well. I'd recommend trying the trials out, see which one works the best for you, because what works best for one person is not necessarily the way another person works. So definitely check that out. So now we're up to one of my favorite parts of the show, and this is tool time. And I've got a couple of tools this week. Hopefully, again, I want to hear from the audience here, because some of these are tools that, I like certain tools, but then you might know of another one, as Lisa just demonstrated with like Subtitle. So this week we got 2 tools for you, and the first tool is going to be a tool called Display Purposes. This is basically a way for you to quickly identify Instagram hashtags. Have you checked any of this out before?
I had not checked this one out, so I did try playing around with it. And I like how you can copy over. So one, you can check out the hashtags and you can see where it's being used, but then also where you can copy it with like the dots to like kind of work its way down, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can, it's got a nice limiter here. So you can say, hey, I only want to see a certain amount of hashtags to include. What are there any other tools you use by chance for for Twitter hashtags?
Yeah, my 2 thumbs. Yeah, no.
That was good.
No,
I need to add a sound effect in here. That would have been great.
It's late for me. I'm sorry. That's good. No, I've used like Twitotomy, like just to look for hashtags within like Twitter and some others. But for Instagram, I haven't really. It's like we've. Yes, I have. I take that back. Hashtagify.
Hashtagify. Okay.
We've used that for clients, so that a lot of the account managers use that, and they will research hashtags there. And then I used to use Twubs a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
For hashtags and like to register it there, but I don't even think that site's around anymore now. So, but Hashtagify, we've used that, but nothing like this where you can like copy and move it over.
Yeah. And so what do you recommend as far as hashtags? I mean, if somebody's going to put hashtags on Twitter, it looks like Twubs, by the way, is still up.
Is it?
Yeah, looks like it's still up. Here, let's pull that up for everybody. This is Twubs.
Where, like twubs.com?
Yes.
Oh, it is back. Yay. Okay, awesome. So yeah, this is what I used to use when I was like doing a lot more account management. And so I would register the hashtags and stuff there. But rules for hashtags that we tell clients, one, we have one that's like their own custom, that's short, easy to use, that could catch on, and then make it relevant to their clients and to the community. So don't just try to get on like the hashtag train of something that's just popular, but something that's relevant and relevant to what they're talking about and popular. Definitely.
And by the way, George was saying he's used Display Purpose before. We're going to have him on the show as well, by the way. Very knowledgeable guy as well. So
he's great. He's funny too.
So we'll have to have him on. That's the first tool for the week. It's called Display Purposes. Again, free tool. Twubs is an alternative. Hashtagify, also an alternative. Again, one thing you'll see here, lots of alternatives to tools. So find something that works well for you. Again, don't over hashtag your posts. Don't hijack hashtags if you can help it. Again, if you find some generic, some broad hashtag matches, use those for your, use those in your post to help broaden your exposure. But also make sure you have some branded ones in there as well.
And we use like Agora Pulse, like for our social media management, which I love their tool. And one thing I love about it is that it lets us know how well our hashtags are performing. So before, like you may see that one's popular, but it's like, okay, now what kind of impact has that made on your content then after you've used it, right? So just because it's popular doesn't mean that's going to boost your success on the post if your post wasn't relevant to that hashtag. That's why I think the relevancy is key. But I love Agora Pulse's tool where it literally will show you which ones are getting the most traction.
And we use that tool as well. So that's a fantastic recommendation, actually. Great tool for not just the scheduling and the management, but the hashtag piece is, I think, key. So you can actually see the effectiveness. And that's a key thing that a lot of people don't spend enough time on, I think, which is analyzing their results to see what works, what doesn't work, where they need to tweak things. A lot of people, they set it up. It's not Easy Bake Oven. Is it Easy Bake Oven, the one where you can like set it and forget it type thing? You can't just do that with like social. You have certain processes, but you need to keep refining the process to where you get it down to something that is manageable, that works really well. So keep that in mind. It's not just it's not a one-stop shop. Like it's not like, hey, I did it once and I'm done. So it doesn't work that way. So now the second tool we're going to talk about this week is probably one of my favorite tools.
This one's mine too.
This is hardware. So
I love it.
I love hardware. Jessica, or you've never seen my office, but like love hardware. Got a lot of stuff, and
this is freaking cool.
This is awesome.
So I'm a Twitch fangirl. So I originally seen it for that. So I got it for a friend that's like hardcore into Twitch. But then I realized that you could use this for anything. Like I'll let you talk about it, but it's in my Amazon cart right now, just so you know.
Awesome, awesome. And it's about so I'll tell you right now. So this is essentially, let me get the right window up here. So okay, so this is the let's see. Definitely not that. Speaking of gaming, this is the Elgato Stream Deck. Now there's two versions of this. It's a 6-key and a 6-key and a 15-key touch, or I'm going to say touch, because they're actually physical buttons. And I'll actually bring this around here for you guys so you can see how this works.
You got one?
I have one, yes.
I'm jealous. Did you get the portal, Facebook portal ever, by the way?
Did I get what?
Facebook portal, or no?
No. So what you can do basically with this, these are basically buttons that you can set up. Now, for example, if you go to our Twitter channel, if you go to twitter.com/socialchefs, you will see that I can quickly change my Twitter name, my username, for instance, when we go live. A couple things we also have here, we can change it back with the press of a button, and then we can also send out a tweet with a graphic, link to the show, and whatnot. Now, in addition to this tool also, as you can see, it has timers. You can set up, if you're using, for instance, a tool like Ecamm Live, you could quickly switch between your screens. Or sorry, not Ecamm Live. Sorry, that's OBS. My bad. OBS has functionality built in. I think Ecamm Live is working on Stream Deck functionality. Hopefully StreamYard will have that as well. But it is a physical hardware button, but you can also use it to launch programs, play sound effects. What else? Let's see. You can, as you mentioned, comment. Yes. Pretty much, it can do just about anything you want to do within reason. You can basically run a series of macros. You want to, you have a process you want to run. You can push a button and it will literally spit out everything that you need it to do. So that's it. So back to you, Jessica, on that one.
No, I think it's super smart. One, it just looks cool. Let's be honest, right? And everybody wants it's like the digital marketer's easy button deck. Right?
Absolutely.
Of doing things. So I think it's really cool. Like I said, I originally thought it was only for Twitch because that was just where I was seeing it most often and kind of like where it was promoted a lot. So that's where I had got it for a friend that was like even more of a Twitch nerd. So I got it for them for Christmas. But now like I want to play with it. I like gadgets too.
It is fantastic. And so a couple of other cool features with this. So you're like, hey, it's got 6 buttons, it's got 15 buttons. You can also create, so there's some cool stuff here. So one thing is I have a screen set up for live streaming, but then I can also have one set up for applications that I use. So if, for example, say you want to switch between Photoshop and doing something else, it will automatically switch based on the application you're using to your set of buttons. So that's the first thing. Now, the other part that's really cool is that you can, it's not just like, hey, there's 15 buttons and I got to like figure out, well, which one's going on which slot. You can actually use it and create folders. So for example, if you want to have, I wish I could have just captured that expression on your face there, but you could create folders with multiple buttons, for example, within that as well. So it is a very useful piece of hardware.
How hard was it to set up? Was it easy to set up?
It's super easy, actually. They have, they basically give you a piece of software. You can go in and you can add their functionality. It's literally drag and drop. You can go in and it will literally change right on screen as you're dragging them around, reordering them and whatnot. But yeah, as you mentioned, it's primarily for gaming, but you could also have it perform lots of other functions.
I could see it for live streaming, period.
Yeah,
like,
because
let's be honest, like you're trying to like do things and switch screens, but people can tell like you're messing with your computer. So you could have just your like hands busy doing some magic by pushing some buttons over here. Makes sense.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic tool. Definitely a fantastic tool. Lots and lots and lots of options. And they're building out functionality all the time for it. Again, it's primarily for streaming, but I like the fact that you're thinking outside the box, which is it's not just for game streaming, for example. So it's got lots of functionality. It can tie into your system functions on your computer. You can have it perform certain, you can assign shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts to it, and so forth. But fantastic piece of hardware. It's $148, I think, on Amazon. So that's the 15 button model. That's what I would get, is the 15 button. But works on Mac, works on PC.
Go big or go home. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And by the way, the crazy thing is how big this thing is. This thing is, I think, the size of like an index card. Mm-hmm. This is here. Let me get my phone. Actually, here we'll use we'll do a measurement here. So we have iPhone and we have Stream Deck, and so it's, let's see. So
oh wow.
Yeah. So it's like let's see. It's almost like, what is this, like the size of the iPhone 5 or something like 4S. That? Yeah, 4S. Yes. So super portable. So the great thing is you can actually carry this with you as well if you need to go somewhere. So definitely one of my favorite tools. Again, I like tools. I like gadgets, so I like putting them to use.
I'm surprised you didn't get the Portal then.
Yeah. So I didn't do Portal. There's a reason I didn't do Portal, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah. Never mind.
So by the way, it's interesting. People are telling us we're frozen on Facebook.
Huh. Oh, we are. Oh, and the image is great.
Awesome. Okay, I'll have to check that out. But yeah, so that's really interesting. I didn't realize it froze. So thanks a lot for joining everyone this week. Jessica, it's been a pleasure, by the way, having you on the show to talk social media news, to talk business. Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's always a blast nerding out with you on all the updates. I love it. People can find me on jessicaphillips.com. It's just my first and last name. My name is spelled with a K with Jessica, jessicaphillips.com. And all my social handles are there.
Very nice, very nice. I don't think I've checked out that website. I've always been used to going to the Now Marketing page.
Don't judge it. It's very outdated still, but
no, it's okay.
Photos anyway. The content's up to date. The photos are not.
No, it's all good. It looks like you got a chat bot installed. So very good. Yes. So for those of you watching, by the way, I want to thank you again for spending just a little bit of your time this week with us. This is streaming over to YouTube as well, but we'll have a blog post recap that will go out tomorrow with some additional topics that we did not cover during the show. Because again, we want to bring you the best value, in terms of social media. And there were 10 plus topics this week. So thanks a lot for joining everybody this week. We'll be back next Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So same time, same channel with Gail Gilliland. Yes. Gail. So hopefully we'll have Jessica back as well. I know she's really busy, but thanks a lot for joining us this week, Jessica. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. And we'll see you later. Bye.
Yeah.